Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy has earned praise from conservatives for bringing light to America's fatherless epidemic during last week's debate. The numbers have changed dramatically over the past couple of generations and could be playing a key role in other nationwide crises. Let's bring in Bill Barr, the former U.S. Attorney General under President Trump. Good to see you, Mr. Attorney General. I just want to play a little bit about what Vivek Ramaswamy said during the debate regarding fatherlessness. Let's tee that up here.
We also have a federal government that pays single women more not to have a man in the house than to have a man in the house, contributing to an epidemic of fatherlessness. And I think that goes hand in glove with the education crisis as well, because we have to remember education starts with the family, and the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind.
Yeah, we mentioned at the top of this, Mr. Attorney General, that things have changed dramatically over the generations. First of all, single-parent households in the U.S., 30%. At this point, the world average is 7%. In China, it's just 3%. 40% of U.S. babies now are born out of wedlock compared to 5% in 1960. You're very concerned about this. How did we get here?
Well, Professor Thomas Sowell at Stanford's done a lot of work on this, especially with minority communities. And he points out that black families were even more intact for parts of the early 20th century. They had high rates of marriage, and they didn't have the kinds of rates of fatherless families that they do today. But around 1960, it was like a nuclear bomb went off, and we started seeing more and more out of wedlock births, more and more fatherless families. And I think Vivek is right. I think federal policy had a lot to do with that, the welfare policies that started in the 60s. Now, it's not the only reason for it, but it's a big part of it.
Now, you talk about this in your book, One Damn Thing After Another. Right. Vivek Ramaswamy related it to education. Yeah. In your book, you relate it to crime. You say, quote, if there's a single identifiable root cause of crime, it's the absence of a father in too many families. The one factor the left refuses to acknowledge is a problem. Why is this a conservative issue?
Well, it shouldn't be. I hear, very prominent black leaders say this all the time. Many from Hollywood and so forth, saying the presence of a father in the life of a young man is the most important thing, both in education, but also in keeping him on the straight and narrow. The family is a moral institution, for instilling values and discipline. And when it breaks down, then we see more and more crime. It is the highest correlation to criminal activity. It's not poverty. It's the absence of a father in the home. Now, it's not just a minority population. It's been spreading in our society. And a lot of white communities are hit by this. And it's happening in countries like Britain as well.